Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Belly Up Sports ERSCA series presented by 3Y TV. It's chase race number 1 of the 2023 season with the Belly Up Sports 200 ready to go here from Darlington. Dom Santina, David Westergreen up in the booth, Carlos Acosta, as always, producing behind the scenes. David, glad to have you back in the booth here this week to start the chase. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, a little sore from all them wrecks I was a part of last week at Talladega, but excited to be back in the booth for this one for the start of the chase. Exciting to be racing at Darlington, man. This is easily one of my favorite iRacing tracks to participate in. It's one of my favorites to call because this is a race that tends to go green for a while. We'll see whether these guys can make that happen. They've been pretty good for the first 80% of the races so far this season, and then that's that last 20 that always seems to bite us. We're hoping for a nice long green flag run, some green flag pit stops perhaps today. Tough entrance on a pit road, a lot of tire wear at Darlington, so hopefully these guys can put on a good show for us tonight. We'll see this chase start off with a bang.
Yeah, later start to the season this year for ERSCA, so smaller overall race numbers this season, smaller chase, and a smaller field with Austin Beers, Nick Indelicato, Nick Massey, Cameron Rich, Joe Francis, and...
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all 5 of the chasers going for the 4th ERSCA championship.
Of course, Nick Massey, your defending champion in the series and the only repeat champion. We'll see if he can go for his 3rd here in this 3-race stretch. Practice is winding down here in the next 2 minutes or so, and we'll get into our qualifying session for this evening.
Worth noting, the Massey's registered for the session, but he has not logged in nor turned a lap. So we will see whether Massey's sandbagging a little bit or, if he's maybe on emergency, just trying to get here. Hopefully he can get in and race. The rest of the championship contenders have all put down laps, but fastest in practice right now, as you can see on the top of your screen, Scott Crump, and I was watching some of his laps. He's looking pretty sporty right now. Was running laps, deep into practice in that same 29.4 bracket. So I think he'll be one to watch today, maybe to finally put those demons behind him and capture a win today in ERSCA at Darlington. Worth noting that a number of drivers will also be fighting it out for the best of the rest, and are kind of inserted into their own chase. Those are most of the guys that you've seen throughout the season that wouldn't be chase drivers, ordered as such on Sim Racer Hub. Ryan Barbieri, Matthew Bayuk, Gerald Campbell, Mike Christopher, Scott Crump, Drew Eisenman, Ryan Gavel, Michael Goodman, who's missing tonight due to late night last night, actually told me before the race. Kyle Hanshaw, Gavin Hibbs, Brian Narducci, Seth Rawls, Dylan Thomas, Johnny Thomas, and Eddie Trupiano. Those guys all racing for the honors of 6th best. They got reset for their own kind of a chase bracket. So I'd keep my eye out for those guys as well. Though I believe the prize for best of the rest, a little bit less than being a prize for a chase driver here in ERSCA. A little bit of a big money series Johnny likes with the big payouts. I imagine tonight will be no different.
Absolutely not. Practice going to wind up here. Looks like Scott Crump's going to have the fastest practice time. Not really too relevant, but something to note here as we head into qualifying. Nick Massey did not end up taking any practice laps.
Cameron Rich, 2nd fastest, and he has been real good at these driver-friendly tracks. Very good at Charlotte, very good at Nashville. I imagine Cameron Rich will be one of your favorites as well this evening. Got the checkered flag scheme out tonight too. He's hunting a win.
There's Joe Francis, another one of your championship contenders, got in on the incident count.
As far back at the end of the race last week, but I'm pretty sure he got involved in a couple of incidents. So, you know, he played it safe that whole race and did barely make it in due to Kyle Hanshaw also having some issues. Talladega is just so tough to hide. Darlington, there will be nowhere to hide either. The skirt track only, you know, 2 grooves at its widest points. These guys are going to need to be cautious. Joe Francis just hit the wall in his qualifying lap. Seth Rawls among those in the best of the rest group. He's typically a good qualifier. We'll see where he puts the 25 SR Designs Dodge. Cameron Rich already ran a lap faster than Scott Crump ran in practice. Or it's right at the same marks, so he will be very tough to beat today.
Rawls puts himself 4th quickest as of right now. Still quite a few cars to make their way on track.
Oh boy, Cameron Rich lays down at 29.348. The full 1/10 of a second faster than Blanchard and Francis. And 2nd and 3rd, Rawls unable to go any faster than that. He'll be back in 5th and climbing up from the rear of the field. That lap by Rich was very impressive. Darlington, a track where you have to race the racetrack. Gets real tight off of turn 2. Gets very loose coming off of turn 4. Very easy to make a mental mistake, even when you're racing around other drivers at Darlington. So you have to be very, cautious driving that racetrack, hitting your marks, being very consistent. It's easy to mess up at Darlington and get it into the wall. I'm sure you'll see it from these guys over the course of the evening.
Getting loose out of turn 4 there, coming to the line.
I think that's 2 for Tate Lytle. He's one you would think has a good chance at jumping on the pole, but with that wiggle in turn 2, I'm not sure he'll get there. And in fact, I think he hit the wall at some point during that lap. So that lap will be voided. He almost hit it again there, coming off of 2. He hit it in 3 and 4. So Tate Lytle will be coming from the back. We'll have to monitor his progress through the field. It'll be a difficult task for Tate Lytle tonight. Here's a guy I'm interested to see this evening. Matthew Weeks making his debut last week with me. He jumps to 3rd on the board. He's pretty good at Darlington. He's run really well at Darlington in this series before. Got real loose coming off of turn 2. I think that will cost him a pole run here. But Matthew Weeks very, very successful at Darlington in many of the races I've run with him and called for him. So he'll be a factor tonight. Here's another factor this evening. Austin Beers, one of the Chase drivers.
Oh, you got way out of shit there. Hold up. Yep, that's a hard hit to the wall.
Oh, yeah. That's before lap 1, but I don't think he's going to have time to get back around. Here's a threat for the pole.
You know who's
Got
going to be
Crump.
You know who's going to be joining Lytle out back?
Beers, probably.
Massey.
Oh, yeah, Massey is in the session. He has connected. But that's Nick Massey fashion, right? You join the session late. Crump's going to pull it off here. He is not going to be able to go in there and challenge Cameron Rich's lap. It's Massey fashion, right? He'll start at the back. About lap 40, we'll be like, oh, there's Nick Massey, top 15. Lap 80, oh, there's Nick Massey, top 10. 5 to go. Nick Massey's battling for the lead. It's just how it goes. Looks like that's the qualifying order. Cameron Rich will win the pole. Take a look at the starting grid here. Yeah, it'll be Cameron Rich on pole with Scott Crump to his outside. Ryan Blanchard making his return. He'll start 3rd. Matthew Weeks will start in 4th. Joe Francis will start 5th, the second championship contender. Mike Christopher will start 6th. Third championship contender Nick Indelicato will start 7th, and last week's winner Ryan Gavel will start 8th. Vincent Isabella will start 9th. Josh Adams will start in 10th tonight. Then Johnny Thomas and Gerald Campbell round out your top 12.
Going through the rest of the field here, Ryan Barbieri will start 13th, Dylan Thomas in 14th, Tate Lytle in 17th, Nick Massey in 18th, Austin Beers, Drew Eisenman, and Kyle Hanshaw will round out the 21-car field here tonight.
Only 21 cars, and you know, at Darlington that can still feel like a lot. I mean, track position will be vitally important. I think we'll see some guys jumping off strategy should we get an early caution. The chase drivers will be noted in yellow on the ticker on the left side of your screen there, so if you're keeping up with that, you'll be able to tell who's running well. Should we make picks?
Sure, why not?
All right, Dom, go first. I want you to take Carlos's pick, or I will.
I won't be that mean to him. I'll go Nick Indelicato to go back-to-back.
Back-to-back for Indelicato. All right, Carlos, make your pick.
Oof, all right,
Shock
well,
the world.
Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't do that because, as a matter of fact, I had to make sure I went with the safety pick tonight. And tonight, it's going to be interesting. He's going to take off, going to dominate most of the night. It's going to be Austin Beers with the win tonight.
Woo! All right, well, I'll take Cameron Rich in an upset pick. Austin
Actually,
Beers.
David, this is, now that I think about it, this is back-to-back weeks that Carlos has not taken Cameron Ridge.
I know. Didn't pick me, though, last week. Ended up being right, but still.
Oh,
So
that was an
disrespect-
easy non-call.
I was the winner of the last race at Talladega that you produced, Carlos. Come on.
Can't strike twice.
We got fair enough. Cameron Rich and Scott Crump, they will lead us to the green. Pace laps underway. I think everybody got to the grid. Did Nick Massey grid up? He sure did.
Adams has not gridded. Actually, excuse
the
me.
culprit.
He missed the start, so he'll be starting the race from pit road.
Yep, Josh Adams will have to come from way in the back. He'll be hoping for an early caution. Pace car is off. Cameron Rich got him going early. Middle of turn 3 was the restart there. That allows Cameron Rich to get a big jump on Scott Crump and clear him going into turn 1. Matthew Weeks clears Ryan Blanchard for 3rd.
Single file already through the top 10. That was
Oh,
Josh
man.
Adams making his way
Austin-
off the road.
Austin Beers just about hit the wall, lost 2 spots coming off of 2. We'll see who's being real careful with their tires, careful with their stuff here early in this race, and who's abusing their equipment. You'll see when those guys turn it left coming off of the wall on corner exit. Those are the ones abusing their tires. Crump looking fast right now. He's going after Cameron Rich for the race lead. Running a little bit stronger of a pace than Rich, and Crump dashes to the lead in turn 3.
Weeks looking to take a peek as well. He's going to dive to the inside. And he'll take that second spot away from Cameron Rich, who now might be under attack for 3rd as well from Blanchard.
Cut Blanchard off there. Didn't want to lose too much track position. He knows he'll be able to chase these guys back down. I think Cameron Rich's advantage will be on that longer green flag run. You just don't want to give up too much track position early on. Ryan Blanchard, though, going after Cameron Rich still for that 3rd position. I don't think that's allowing Cameron Rich to run the line he wants to either with Ryan Blanchard underneath him. Now they're going to be side by side entering turn 1. That's always treacherous at Darlington.
Pretty much the only battle on track right now. Everyone else pretty single file. Blanchard will have the 3rd position. Joe Francis right there behind him now. That's the rounds out your top 5. Joe Francis trying to take a peek here early.
Francis now under attack from Mike Christopher. So just as he gets to the back bumper of his primary championship rival, he's going to have to go on defense as Joe Francis. Scott Crump is scooted away. He is a full 2 seconds ahead of this battle. As you see Ryan Blanchard getting loose off of turn 4. I get the feeling Cameron Rich taking it easy early in this race, trying to keep the tires on it, keep all the fenders on that 17 car, try to be around for him at the end. I know he can go faster than that. He's relaxing. He's playing the early part of the race very safe.
Things single file out once again. Everyone running in line.
Early big movers include Austin Beers up 3 positions, Dylan Thomas up 3 positions.
Yeah, we're going to have our 5 championship contenders in 2 little packs. We got Rich, Francis, and then Delicato, a spot in between each other.
Joe Francis did catch the wall there coming off of turn 2. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on that car. Might have been some cosmetic scraping, but no harm, no foul. Still our first Darlington stripe of the evening.
And then Beers and Massey are together back there at 16th and 7th.
They're going to have to find their way through a number of tough cars. Probably save their tires is the best bet and try to drive through on a long green flag run. Scott Crump's pulled out to a 1.3 second lead up front over Matthew Weeks as we take a look at the replay of Joe Francis exiting turn 2 and bouncing it off the wall. Looks pretty harmless. He still sits in 5th. I think the 50 car's all right. I think Cameron Rich is starting to come back to life a little bit. He's right on the back bumper of Ryan Blanchard. Battle now around Gerald Campbell, Dylan Thomas jumping to the inside of Campbell, and there's the wreck. Campbell and Thomas did not.
Oh, Beers got into it.
Yep, and Austin Beers is going to be involved in that. You know, we saw on, I think it was lap 2 or so, you know, Cameron Rich and Ryan Blanchard side by side entering turn 1. Cameron lifted on the outside, gave him the spot. Gerald and Dylan go in there, neither of them lift. And the result is barely typical of Darlington, right? 03 tries to cut it across the 31's nose. 31 didn't cut him a break, and we end up with 3 wrecked race cars and one of the championship contenders getting some damage. Lytle might have also gotten a piece of that. I don't know if that 56 car will be badly damaged, but he definitely got up underneath of Ryan Barbieri's car. There's definitely a crinkle on the front bumper of the 19 of Beers. I think it's damage he can get fixed, though.
I think Beers is probably in a better position than Lytle is. Lytle went pretty deep into that one.
Beers did hit the wall as well, but I think that's fixable damage on the 19 car. And Ryan Blanchard and Mike Christopher are going to stay out. Everyone else coming down pit roads. So Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, Cameron Rich, those guys coming to get fresh tires. Blanchard, Christopher, and Delicato, Vincent Isabella, Ryan Gavel all staying out. Very interesting as we get split pit strategy here on lap 11 in this one. 6 sets of tires in this race, so obviously if we went green, you'd pit 2 more times probably still. From this point, you never even get close to those 6 sets, but I do believe that, you know, these guys are gonna be hunting fresh tires. I think the fresh tires are gonna be a good call, unless this restart gets us very aggressive and we start getting some cautions, in which case the guys who stayed out and kept that track position, they will be in the catbird seat. Worth noting that Josh Adams did get caught back up to the field after starting the race on pit road. The caution was exactly what he was looking for.
right, so it's going to be Blanchard, Christopher, and Delicato. Isabella, Rawls, your top 5. Gavel, Thomas, Hanshaw, Landau, and Crump will be your new top 10 here after this kind of split of decisions, as David said, on pit road. So we'll see how this all works out.
It's going to be really interesting because you've got 3 championship contenders, well, 4 championship contenders getting tires there, and Justin Dick and Delicato staying out, getting split off of those guys on strategy. So if this race does go green, you're going to see, I think, a big advantage to the guys who came down pit road. But those guys are going to have a lot more grip than these guys on older tires. Could spell disaster if you do get involved in a wreck due to that grip difference and racing around those guys in the top 10. Blanchard sends them early here.
Yep, back to green we go.
Really splits up the front part of that field. Second half of the field, however, all stacked up. Kyle Hanshaw drops it to the apron. He'll get out of the way of some of these guys on fresh tires. And Scott Crump leads the way among those with Cameron Rich and Matthew Weeks on his rear bumper. All that's chasing Ryan Blanchard, and it's in about 9th place.
Oh, they're wrecking.
They're
wrecking. Big wreck in the back. Couple more cars involved.
Eisenman, it's the same guys who got caught up in the wreck last time, and Campbell, Barbieri, Thomas, but Eisenman's the one who got it started there. Let's go back and take a look at the replay, see what happened. Looks like Gerald Campbell just ran right in the back of Drew Eisenman. I think Austin Bierce is going to get another piece of this wreck, and we're going to need to go on board with Josh Adams. I don't know how he got through there without any damage.
On board, Josh.
With Josh Adams here, and sees the spin. Hole. Oh, and just cuts it back and gets through there. What a move by Josh Adams. I'm not sure where Gerald Campbell was going. He saw the checkup coming. I'm not sure what was going on there. Somebody up in front of Eisenman got tight coming off the corner. I think it was Massey and Lytle there. Eisenman checked for it. He had a good run. They just got run over. And then Barbieri and Thomas were full on, nowhere to go. So they again get involved.
Twisted Sister right there.
Yep. The true Twisted Sister car. One more look at this replay. The damage Austin Beers gets, and the move Josh Adams makes to avoid. So none of the front group pitted, I believe. I think all those guys stayed out. They've made their bet on staying out, keeping that track position.
Yeah.
Beers is on pit road, so it makes me think he's got at least some somewhat lengthy repairs here to that 19 machine.
Yeah, and the ARCA car, you can fix it all the way up, right? The Gen 4 car, the ARCA car. Once you get the damage to 0, it's like brand new. But the issue is that, it's like what happened to me last week. I had enough damage, I couldn't fix it in one pit stop, and that's what slows you down and causes problems. I think Beers' car looks brand new. I think he's been able to get it fixed fully both times. He may have dodged a bullet, but you can't keep using up mulligans. Eventually, you're going to get the damage so severe that it does end up affecting your race car.
Yeah, it was pretty clear that if you could get your car fixed, it was good as new last week, because there was guys that would be in a wreck and then 3 laps later be at the front of the field.
So you've got Blanchard and Christopher. Scott Crump is first on new tires. He's back in 7th. Cameron Rich 8th. Matthew Weeks 9th. Joe Francis 10th. Those are the guys you're watching for, as we've got some shenanigans going on here. And they're EOLing Ryan Blanchard is Johnny Eckert. I'm not sure why. I will send him a message. We'll see what we can glean from that. But Blanchard's now going to the back. Give another spot to those guys on fresh tires. And there's the green flag here, I think.
No.
I think we're on delay again. Oh, nope, not yet. They all sped up, but
You want delay?
I might be. And we're giving it a lane change on the restart for the 09 of Ryan Blanchard. Last restart. Changed lanes before the start-finish line. Sends him to the back. Go ahead, Dom.
No, you're good, Dave. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, so that'll re-rack it to Mike Christopher, the race leader, with Nick Indelicato second. Vincent Isabella's third. Ryan Gavel's fourth. Scott Crump's going to be up in fifth with Rawls in sixth. It looks like Matthew Weeks will be seventh and Cameron Rich in eighth. So it just shuffled the inside line forward because of the timing of that. So advantage for Scott Crump and Matthew Weeks, disadvantage for Cameron Rich.
You can see our championship contenders there. 3 in the top 10. Massey and Beers back outside the top, really on the edge of the top 15 right now.
Christopher laying it back a little bit this restart, not going as soon as the pace car drops. Now he drops the hammer, rolls into the wall, right in front of Rich. They're going to wreck.
Oh, they're wrecking.
Oh, Beers again.
Big crash.
And Beers gets hit again, and man, what did I just say about dodging the bullets? You only have so many. We'll see how much damage is on that 19 car, but again involved in a wreck not of his own making. A lot of these guys spun their tires, man. Oh, Scott Crump was involved in this. He ends up losing spots. He's going to get some big damage as the 8 car. Look at all this tire spin. My goodness. Cameron Rich, Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, Seth Rawls.
That's why you hold the brakes.
Yeah. I will say, Beers gets clipped and spun. The left side's got some damage. I guess that's the right side. The right side's got some damage. Doesn't look too severe. Let's see when he turns around here. I'm not sure.
Massey did a good job of avoiding that one. Got it checked up in time.
Yeah. Landolt's one, he gets turned into Beers. Very typical of Darlington there to have that caution on the restart like that. And just like that, we ran 10 green flag laps. We had a shift of pit strategy, and then we lost, 3 straight cautions. So I think Rich is going to have some damage, but I don't think it's going to be very severe. That car seemed to be in a good spot underneath the 25 car to where I don't think it'll affect Rich's car all that badly. The guy who gets out of this looking really smart is Nick Indelicato. He goes to get tires. And Joe Francis is the other guy who looks smart. He's up in third now with no damage.
I was going to say that too. By staying out, he stayed out of all of this. Now he's putting himself in the back with these new tires, which who knows what's going to happen on these restarts. It obviously has been the case with the last couple, but yeah, the play looked pretty good for Indelicato and Francis here so far.
This race has already been every dose of chaotic, and we're only in 20 laps of 120. We've had damage on 2 of our championship contending cars. 3 if you count Francis tagging the wall under green. Several wild incidents. Gerald Campbell's been a part of most of them. He's up in 4th now.
I think it's almost got to be pretty close right now at the moment of caution laps to green flag laps.
It's not a stat we want to have. Come on, guys. Like 1 to go this time. Mike Christopher, Vincent Isabella have not pitted yet. They are 1-2. Puts Joe Francis in a real good spot, as I think Ryan Blanchard just hit the wall under caution, so it's going great. Johnny Thomas, Cameron Rich, 3rd row there. Then it's Ryan Blanchard, who's back up to 7th after having gotten an EOL on the last restart. Kyle Hanshaw's alongside him. Then it's Tate Lytle and Josh Adams to round up the top 10. Championship driver update. Nick Massey's 12th, Nick Indelicado's 13th. Austin Beers and his damage are back at 20th.
All right, here we go. Try number 4.
Christopher taking him down slowly again. That caused major wheel spin and a big wreck last time. I'm sure it doesn't happen again this time, guys.
Someone's in the wall already.
I think it's Johnny Thomas. Spun him. He didn't lose it though. Got out of the gas.
They scattered a little
going.
bit, but I think everyone's okay.
Gerald takes second. Now it's a battle in fourth for the championship guys, Rich and Francis.
Oh, someone's
Blanchard.
off the wall.
Blanchard just knocked the wall down, coming off a 2. Now Rich just ahead of Francis, 4th and 5th is that battle. And Adams goes by Johnny Thomas back there for 9th. So Mike Christopher leads. Gerald Campbell to 2nd. It's Vincent Isabella up to 3rd. Then the fresh tires of Rich and Francis, 4th and 5th. We'll see how much of the damage is affecting that 17 car. Then Hanshaw, Lytle, Adams, Thomas, and Nick Massey now enters the top 10. Francis keeping pace right with Cameron Rich. See how much those 10-lap Spectre tires hold up against Vincent Isabella's 42 car here.
Seems like for the most part, things are getting back to what we saw during green flag racing. That was a lot of single file in-line racing. Not many guys battling for position too much at the moment.
You saw how quickly it all deteriorated once somebody got side by side entering turn 1. Very easy to wind up in trouble if somebody doesn't yield and kind of provide that respect and that gratitude for keeping somebody there, giving them space. Battle for 3rd down the back straightaway. Cameron Rich will go after Vincent Isabella. I think Vincent's just going to yield the bottom lane to the 17 car, and Joe Francis is going to be hunting after that 4th spot now from Vincent. Almost contact there, though. Vincent.
Oh, Blanchard at the wall again.
Lead.
I was going to say, battle for the lead's ensuing. I think Gerald Campbell's got fresh tires. He's run Mike Christopher down like a car with fresher tires, and after spinning twice, I think this 31 car might be looking for some clean air.
I was just going to say that Nick Indelicado was making the move on Blanchard, and then he got in the wall. He just lost about another 3 or 4 spots. So now Indelicado's up to 12th. Blanchard continues to fall through the field back to 14th at the moment.
Campbell takes the race lead. Joe Francis takes over 4th from Vincent Isabella. And I think now if this race does go green, it is looking like Campbell, Rich, Francis, Tate Lytle, those guys are in a really good spot if this thing can single out and go green. If not, they're going to be down a set of tires, right? And they're going to have to get back on cycle with everybody else. And Vincent Isabella, Mike Christopher, they're going to have that extra set without having lost too much track position. For now, if this thing green, it stays green and goes a ways, I like what these guys with fresh tires have done. Dylan Thomas now going after Blanchard, whose right side damage is definitely hindering the performance on that 09 car. He's all the way at the back of the field now. And we talked about the damage on Austin Beers. I wasn't sure if it was severe. It's severe. He's 15 seconds off as Blanchard gets the wall again. Tough break for the Beers guys over there, the Beers Motorsports guys. Mike Christopher's maybe their last hope. I guess Vincent Isabella as well, but tough start so far for Austin and Ryan Blanchard.
Well, it doesn't seem like it, but in a lap or so here, we'll be a quarter of the way through this race. We'll be back green flag racing for the last 6 or 7 laps.
Gerald Campbell has not pulled away from Mike Christopher, and Cameron Rich is eating both of them up. Vincent Isabella just got the wall coming off of 2. Josh Adams is going to take over 6th.
Tate Lytle's right behind that group too, there in 4th after having some contact, so his car must be just fine.
He did come down pit road, I believe. on that last that last caution flag. Battle for second going into one. Rich thought better of it, tucked in behind Mike Christopher. Another battle's on track as well. We got battles all over the place here as Hanshaw letting Indelicato and Massey go through. He's also going to let Gavel go through. And Christopher and Rich going to head down underneath Campbell down the back straightaway. Lead change.
No, go ahead. Just looked like something was wrong with Campbell's car there, the way he's backing up so fast. Don't know if
I think he hit the
tires
wall
off of it or what the case was there. Yeah.
I think he hit the wall. I think Campbell got the fence coming off the 2. Allows Christopher to take the lead back over, but Cameron Rich and Joe Francis are right there.
He must have hit it pretty hard. He lost a lot of momentum there, and he's still losing spots backing up through the field here. Lytle's going to go by. Here comes Josh Adams.
Here comes Joe Francis going after Cameron Rich. I love it. You know, Joe Francis has been one of our, he's even top 10 just about every week, but he's up here in 3rd. Made the chase based on a really clean season. That's exciting. I'm glad that Joe Francis is showing some muscle here once the chase has started. He just got out of shape. Yeah, I think he just got out of shape, had to get out of the gas, and that was all it took. Those guys just warmed him. Battle for the lead.
Bull Sitter looking after the race lead once again, and he's going to have it.
Cameron Rich back to the lead, see if Joe Francis can keep pace. Same for Tate Lytle. Trying to get around the guy on older tires, but Rich, man, he got a big jump there coming out of 2, and Francis wasn't able to clear Christopher going into 2, and that's going to give Cameron Rich a really big advantage. In fact, Tate Lytle's going to be underneath Joe Francis here, and look at Joe's just going to have to give it to Tate Lytle at this point.
Christopher got the ball.
Ooh. I think Mike Christopher's going to get the fence. He's going to lose all the way back to 5th.
Going back to your point a few minutes ago, though, David, yeah, it is good to see Joe up here running in the top 3 right now. Like you said, he kind of got in on not a conservative way, but just racing smart and keeping himself out of trouble. Now there's no more perks to running that way. You got to bring the intensity and go for it, and that's exactly what he's doing here in the first half of this race.
Exactly, yeah, and all the drivers had the same opportunity to go for the incident, berth in the chase, right? And only Joe Francis and Kyle Hanshaw were really in contention for it by the start of the chase. So, running that way has its perks and has its advantages, but it kind of cost Joe some good runs, I think, overall. I was just about to say, Cameron Rich is closing in to put Austin Beers' lap down. I think that right front damage is now a little bit severe on that Austin Beers machine, and he may be in trouble going forward. Not what you want to see is the leader streaming by you at full song.
And especially with such a short chase in just 3 races, you got to basically whoever can be the most consistent here is going to be probably in the best shape. So having a rough start to race number 1 is not the way he wanted to start his chase.
Yeah, exactly, and a lot of those were items of his own accord. But let's look back to qualifying, right? I mean, he spun out, hit the wall, lost the qualifying lap, and did somebody spin out down the front straightaway? I can't tell. I don't see anybody falling drastically, so I think we're good. Anyway, somebody got loose coming off before. But Beers did spin in his qualifying lap.
I think that's what it was.
Ah, that's what it was. Beers spun in his qualifying lap, started in the back, right? He didn't have that track position that his fellow contenders had, and while Nick Massey's been able to make that work, Austin Beers was not, and was unfortunately sucked into some incidents that weren't of his own making. Oh, Tate's in the fence from P2.
Trying to hang on to it. And Joe Francis has got a rearview mirror full of Josh Adams now.
Yeah,
Battle for 3rd place.
He's going to let Josh Adams go right here. Presented up top in turn 3. Let Josh cut to the bottom, gave him the room. Good smart driving by Joe. He'll get a chance to get him back later. No need to fight that position right now. You're still in the top 5. You're still on a good run. Josh is a little bit faster right now.
Weeks is all over the back of Christopher as well.
Let's see if there's any difference on the approach. I think Weeks got the wall coming off at 2. gonna say, let's see if there's any difference there between Christopher and Francis and the way they race these guys catching them, but I don't know if that matters just yet. Weeks had been really moving though. He had been very quick, moving up through the field. He's gotten to the back of this front group faster than Indelicato, faster than Gavel, faster than Crump and Massey. So he might be, one of the better of the rest of the guys who maybe got damaged in that first wreck.
We just saw Campbell have to save it about a lap or so ago coming out of the corner, dove way down to the infield to hold on to it.
He just did it again, coming off the floor. He is struggling mightily with that 31 car. Drove it hard, got it up to the lead, but he's suffering for it now. And you see these guys who've been saving their stuff a little bit, and Delicato, Gavel, they're closing up on the back of the 31 car. I think they'll be by him pretty quickly. Cameron Rich is a 1.7 second lead over Tate Lytle. Josh Adams is 2.5 back. So a big gap opened up by Cameron Rich once he was able to take advantage of Mike Christopher kind of holding up the guys behind him. That allowed him to get a really big gap on Joe Francis, big gap on Tate Lytle.
Nick Massey down pit road.
That's interesting. Worth noting, Gerald Campbell gave up 7th and 8th to Nick Indelicato and Ryan Gavel.
David, you don't think, it's been 30-ish laps since he came down pit road last time. Would that be in your scheduled window, or do you think that's a little early, or what do you think he's thinking right there?
I think he can definitely make it on one more stop, right? He's just going to have to take advantage and try to get a well-timed caution once everybody's come down pit road, but he still has the advantage of that undercut. I think these guys are probably 40 to 50 laps on a per tank of fuel. And that's very much speculation. I don't know the actual number. Darlington tends to fluctuate car to car. Prince and Isabella just tagged the fence coming off of turn 2. But Massey pitting early tells me that, he's trying to make something happen from about 10th or 12th place. That or he's got damage and he had knocked the wall down at some point and he had to go get it fixed because it wasn't running well. Either way, two very different stories for, our championship contenders. 3 of them in the top 7, 2 of them outside the top 15.
Yeah, and those two both a lap down now at the moment as well. One, we know obviously Beers has had a rougher day than Massey has, but still, Massey climbed up to that top 10 range when those a bunch of cars got in front of him, but really hasn't stayed too far in the top 10 too much.
Beers has crashed.
Oh.
And this day continues.
Beers has binned it.
Really what happens when you have too many.
And he was, oh man, there it is. Right in front of the race leaders too. Was that him going a second lap down? It was. He had just gone 2 laps down. And that car's steering is messed up now.
It looked very similar to the qualifying crash. Just kind of tapped it coming out of the corner and then lost it. Flipped it. Overcorrected.
That will not help Nick Massey, for what it's worth. He'll have to take the wave around as everybody's going to come down pit road here, and that'll put him right at the back of the lead lap and with a little bit older tires than everybody else. Cameron Rich down pit road. Everybody down pit road.
So that was close to about a 30 lap run there under green.
Yeah.
That's our third caution of the day.
It's our fourth, right?
Is this fourth?
I was just saying since our third. That's all.
Oh, yep. Jay Lytle, Joe Francis. I think both are going to beat Cameron Rich off pit road here. In fact, I think Cameron Rich
may have
stood
been
on pit road.
speeding.
Yep. Not good for Cameron Rich. Another championship contender with a mistake on pit road. Speeding for Cameron Rich. He'll have to go to the back of the field. And with only 70 laps to come back through the field, that could spell disaster for the fastest car in this race tonight in the pole sitter.
Yeah, it's been a rough night for guys in the chase. And this is something, like we said, Joe Francis hasn't had the most speed compared to Cameron Rich, Nick Indelicato, Nick Massey.
Did he also?
Situation. Francis? Or,
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
He's dropping back as well.
Well,
Joe
that
is also back there with Rich.
I was going to say, this would be a situation that would set him up very well, where you got some of the big hitters in trouble here in night one, and if you could just kind of maintain a top 5 run like you were doing, you could set yourself up really well, but guess not.
4 championship drivers with either a mistake or an incident. Only Nick Indelicato has been incident-free to this point. He runs 5th. A wild beginning to this ERSCA chase. Only race 1. We haven't even reached the halfway bonus points yet, and Rich and Francis will likely be out of those, as will Massey and Beers. Only Indelicato will be able to pick those up. $10 bonus points for first, 9 for second, all the way down to 1 for 10th. So we'll see if Francis and Rich can't climb their way into the top 10 on this restart. They're going to have to be aggressive right here and try to go get as many points as they can.
This could lead to a couple cautions here. These guys trying to be aggressive, fighting for points.
I'm not sure what Weeks is doing. He needs to restart on the bottom. If I were racing there, I would be like, 99 car, you're on the bottom, Chief. But well, it looks like he doesn't seem to care. He's taking the top.
Christopher looks like he might a little bit.
I think Christopher should care. I think Christopher should be starting 4th on the outside. Not sure what Weeks is doing. Yep. The disagreement is causing us to extend the caution here, and I believe Weeks needs to go to the bottom of the racetrack. I think that's a pretty clear choice. I think he was 3rd. Coming off pit road. He was pacing around under 3rd, so he needs to be on the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, I guess it looks like Christopher will have 3rd.
I guess so, but that's not an advantage with the race leader on the outside lane. I'm not entirely sure why Weeks is allowed to just change lanes when the leader in front changed lanes, but I know those guys are in a call together. I mean, I'm sure he wants to restart behind Tate Lytle, but I don't believe he's allowed to restart behind Tate Lytle here. Disagreement has been solved. We'll see if that changes anything here as Lytle brings him down. He'll go
Very
in the center
slow.
of the corner. Oh, well.
There we go.
Nick Massey's got damage. Rich stopped to avoid it. Man, I don't have anything for that one. Delicado's got a black flag, but I think it's going to get cleared here. Delicado dives to the bottom. He misses it. Did Francis get through there? I believe he did. I don't see any damage on the 50. All that disagreement for the guy to go in and spin out and take the car on the bottom with him and cause a big pile up that takes out a championship contender. Man, I don't know. You just have to be so careful with that tire spin anyway. And Massey's got big damage now too. On board with Scott Crump here. Smoke, and he's just, yeah, he's around before anything can be done. I imagine that the voice chat, which I do not have active, or it would be confusing to try to announce and listen to their voice chat. I imagine that's going very excitedly right now. It's colorful language likely being thrown around with this one. This is a bit wild here. On board with Nick Massey. And just couldn't get it slowed down in time.
On board Cam.
This, yeah, Cameron Rich. He and Joe Francis are going to make it through. Good job by both of them.
Beers misses one for once.
Is he allowed to do that? I don't think he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, no. Everyone else is involved. He's got to be involved too.
It does get Beers. Yeah, it does also give Beers a chance to get back one lap down and another caution to try to fix that damage. I mean, he can maybe salvage something. You just have to be patient and persevere. Here, you know, you never know what can happen. This series is obviously wild. Lots of crazy stuff happens. Like, you know, a driver deciding his own lane from the second row and then proceeding to wreck the field under the restart. That's things that happen in this series. We're going to have, I think, 3 laps to get to stage points here. Joe Francis is 11th, Cameron Rich is 12th. They will be hyper aggressive, I imagine, to try to get into the points. Nicky Delicato comfortably up in 3rd after dodging that incident.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think Beers has probably hit his personal limit today. Doesn't want any more, and he's probably been through enough today. It was good to see him get through that one. Damage free.
Definitely still got some damage on that 19 car, but it, you know, every caution is an opportunity to get some more fixed. Here we go. For Tate Lytle, Mike Christopher. Pace car is off. And away goes Lytle. No tire spin this time. Everyone away clean. Gavel trying to get after Mike Christopher, get up into 2nd. And he bypasses his teammate. That'll cost Nick and Delicato a stage point.
Oh, loose. Christopher way loose out of the corner there, out of 2.
Yep. Rich gets by Francis. Now Rich going for the top 10 after Dylan Thomas. That's the battle for points. And Delicato trying to get around Christopher. Get up into 3rd. 2 laps to decide the stage. I guess 3 laps, really. Lytle out front. Gavel hunting the race lead for the first time today. And Delicato going for 3rd.
Trying to maximize his halfway stage points here.
Yep,
See if he can get more than just 3rd.
Trying to defend, but he won't be able to. Gets loose coming off of turn number 4. That will open it up for Indelicato. He gets 3rd place. Cameron Rich has not been able to crack into the top 10. He remains 11th.
Vincent Isabella just made the pass on Jared Campbell for 5th.
Gavel loose off of turn 2. That'll open up the door for Indelicato to go to the top on his teammate. Ooh, almost contact between the two shift cars. Gavel keeps it off Indelicato. Move Nick up into 2nd. He's trying to take advantage at this halfway point.
The Hanshaw that just went way wide down on the corner there, losing it a little bit, had to gather it back up.
Cameron Rich did not get Dylan Thomas. He's in 11th. He's going to stay 11th. He does not have enough.
So that is 9 points for Nick Indelicato over all of his chase competitors.
Gavel and Christopher now side by side in turn 2. That's treacherous. Gavel slides in behind Christopher, but definitely a dangerous move going side by side through turn 2 at Darlington. And Isabella Campbell, Johnny Thomas, Kyle Hanshaw in the top 10. All those guys picking up points, looking for assistance to get the best of the rest, 6th in points. Lytle leads by almost a second over Nick Indelicato here. I think Massey's car doesn't seem to be too badly damaged. He is in 15th, running comparable lap times to the guys around him.
Cameron Rich just made the pass on Dylan Thomas, 10th, so he's cracked back up into the top 10.
And maybe a bit of a sacrifice there for Cameron Rich, right? You know, he could have maybe pressed the issue really aggressively, gotten 1 point, but he might have been taking it easy, hoping those guys would burn their tires up, looking for those stage points. Maybe he can come back after them. If he doesn't get wrecked by Seth Rawls right here, Rawls loose off of 4, almost took Cameron Rich with him. Now Rawls will have to duck in behind Dylan Thomas in 11th. Joe Francis is going to be on his back bumper. Good speed, good pace out of Kyle Hanshaw today. He's up in 8th. Got some stage points. 22 cars looking pretty racy this evening.
Yeah, good run for him. Like you said, got in some trouble last week, had a little bit of a rough day, as quite a few did, including you, David, at Talladega last week. But
there goes Joe, gets 11th away from Rawls. Rawls is struggling. And Cameron Rich bypasses Kyle Hanshaw, but Rich is dropping on a mission. Oh, that's going to be a caution.
No caution.
Oh, I guess not.
Still green.
Did Beers wreck Blanchard?
Definitely slowed down for him.
Oh no, 909 just lost it. Oh, that's a weird spot to lose it.
Weird spot to not have a caution.
Yeah, with the car coming for you.
Beers avoiding another one there.
Ryan Blanchard having a bit of an adventurous evening. Johnny Thomas letting Cameron Rich go entering turn 1. So Rich now up to 8. No, 7th, yeah.
Tracking down Campbell, who's right there in front of them. There's a big group led by Indelicato, kind of all together here.
Indelicato has actually lost 2nd to Mike Christopher. So I do wonder if Cameron Rich's strategy of let those guys burn their tires up for the stage points, that might have actually worked out a little bit.
Pictured on Nick Massey here for a moment.
I think that's Matthew
in 13th.
Yeah, that's Matthew Weeks going around. Scott Crump back there. Those are amongst the damaged cars further back. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Vincent Isabella and Gerald Campbell both had to get out of the gas. And that wound up resulting in Cameron Rich bypassing both. And Johnny Thomas might be able to take advantage against Vincent Isabella here.
So So Cameron Rich back up into the top 5 now with that pass. Here's we right on board with Johnny Thomas looking to try to take the 9th position away from Kyle Hanshaw.
Here's Pit
Joe
Road.
Francis, Isabella, and Thomas in 7th and 8th.
You see how much of a handful Vincent Isabella has, and Johnny's going to be able to take advantage of it. Move Johnny Thomas up another spot into 7th. Joe Francis is just a little bit farther back from this pack here. He's sitting back in 10th. He has not been able to make the kind of ground Cameron Rich has been able to make up. And yeah, Austin Beers, he might have gotten the fence. That car looks pretty beat up. I'm looking back to see if anything happened to it.
Looks like we have 2 cars out, so it really can't get much worse than 19th for him for the rest of the night. So that's where he's sitting right now. 3 laps down.
I think it's gonna get worse too for Austin Beers. Well, in terms of the night being long and him not being able to make up any spots. Battle is for 4th as Vincent Isabella has another journey down the back straightaway where he has to go all the way to the bottom. That will cost him 8th to Joe Francis, 9th to Josh Adams, and 10th to Nick Massey.
Hanshaw's troubles continue here as Matthew Weeks looks to make the pass on him. Dylan Thomas right behind him as well. Both of them looking to try to take advantage here and gain a spot.
I'll tell you, I do believe these guys who really pushed it to get those stage points. Vincent's sideways in 2.
Oh.
Vincent's trying to wreck coming out of 2. That was a really good save, but man, that 42 car is evil right now. Tires are not very friendly to Vincent Isabella at this point in the run.
Gonna lose 3, maybe 4 spots or more. Scott Crump looking to try to follow this train through and gain that position. Isabella might be able to clear up ahead of him and will.
I mean, the way that car was acting, it's still loose. He can't even get back in the throttle without that thing getting squirrely. And Scott Crump's going to go to the inside down the back straightaway right here.
And with all these guys having trouble now, Nick Massey able to gain a couple positions. That means all 4 of our chase contenders that are on the lead lap are now in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Joe able to get up into 8th, but he is almost a second behind Johnny Thomas. So we'll see if Joe Francis can't maybe make up some of that ground. I do think he's going to have fresher tires and be running some quicker laps than Johnny. And Gerald Campbell in front of him. He has the ability to get up into 6th. Vincent's in the wall again. Dylan Thomas is in the wall. This battle's not going away back here.
Oh,
Gerald Campbell.
They're gonna wreck.
Yep. Vincent's around. No caution just
there
yet.
it is.
And
There
there
it
it goes. Yeah, that one was brewing for a few laps there. Vincent's car just got really evil on him. I think this will lead to the final pit stop if we go green from here. Oh, that happened in front of him. Dylan Thomas got the fence.
Monkey see, monkey do.
And that was that was also coming. Dylan Thomas had been really off, where that car was jumping up the track every single corner. That will erase Tate Lytle's big lead. Mike Christopher will be able to pit from 2nd. Nick Indelicato will be 3rd. Ryan Gavel will come down from 4th. Cameron Rich made it up to 5th. And we'll see if any of these guys speed on pit road this time. Remember, we lost both Francis and Rich to the back of the field last time via speeding. Let's see if these guys can keep it under control. I personally understand their pain perfectly. Definitely sped on pit road way too much. It's real easy to do. Had to have people threaten me with, punishments if I don't keep it under pit road speed. And Cameron Rich to do the same. And Tate Lytle will be, the first one down. Cameron's going to be first pit box. He doesn't have to go that far. Coming off. Tate is down and away. He was the first one down and away. Christopher gassed it up. That might be speeding on the 82.
Yeah, that was.
We'll see.
He was on it for sure coming through there.
Very aggressive, but it might have gotten him the lead.
Brian Gavel was the third one off pit road there.
Yeah, I think Vincent will be pitting after after this. Yeah, here he comes. Or, yeah, here he comes.
And Delicato beat Rich off pit road there too.
Yeah.
Something good to note.
Gavel up to third. Christopher probably gets the lead here. Did Beers stay out? Yeah, he was,
Beers?
but he still beat him off the pit
Beers
there.
did stay out. He's trying to get a lap back.
Yep, he sure
he was
did.
in pit road about 10 or so laps before the caution.
Yeah, if he is able to get this lap back, that'll put in 2 laps down. But then he'll have to hope for a quick yellow.
His car is still struggling badly.
Yeah, that car is very messed up.
He's looking for a race of attrition in these last couple laps.
He would very much like to see a big wreck in this last third of the race.
I would gather he'd like to see many small wrecks that add up.
Issue is, of course, that it seems like the small wrecks don't result in race-ending damage for a lot of these guys, and he needs some race-ending damage.
He also needs laps back too.
You know, not a good position to be in for
maybe
for the
one
Austin Beers
medium wreck
fans.
or 2 medium wrecks.
One medium wreck. What are we?
No one's a lap
we had
down.
we had Chick-fil-A.
We need 2 medium laps, is that what you're saying, Carlos? So that way he gets his 2 laps back, and
Yeah.
it gives some cars some damage, but takes out some others.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Listen, I called my shot. Beers is gonna win this race.
All right. I like it. Carlos strays from Cameron Rich one time. Hey, I had Cameron Rich, and he's managed to get knocked around several times already this evening.
All right, looks like we're getting ready to go back green. Gonna have about 40 laps to go. It'll be Christopher and Lytle on the front row, and Delicato and Gavel on row 2. Dylan Thomas and Cameron Rich, row 3. Yep, Campbell and Adams, and Massey and Hanshaw round out your top 10.
And Joe Francis is 11th. Everyone's got the same set of tires. Now it's about pace. Let's see who can get it done. Mike Christopher leading him down slowly. And he goes coming off a turn 4, not the easiest place for those guys to keep with him. It'll be Christopher, Lytle, Gavel, and Delicato into turn 3. Campbell is the one who's struggling right now, right in front of Nick Massey. Campbell's still struggling.
Massey able to get underneath him.
And Joe's underneath Kyle Hanshaw just behind. Oh, Campbell sideways coming off a 4. Massey and Joe in a real world of hurt here if they can't get around Campbell.
It's a big pack here, grouped up.
Joe clears Hanshaw.
They lost touch a little bit here with Campbell. Campbell able to get it going again. Francis is not able to get there.
It's tough when you're in this pack at Darlington. It is not easy to run. You know, the non-preferred lanes, you like to be able to cut down the track. Oh, Donnie Thomas coming off a 4, just about lost it. Cameron Rich, Nick and Delicato side by side entering 1. That almost was a disaster. Cameron Rich cuts and Delicato a break. I wonder if Cameron won't be a little less nice next time. He got underneath the 1 car coming off a 4. Nick and Delicato did not leave that door open in turn 1, and Cameron Rich had to get out of the gas.
Going back to our point of if you have little damage and you can get it repaired just as brand new, Josh Adams was the one that was turned head-on into the wall on that Matthew Weeks crash, and he's sitting in 6th place right behind these two right now.
Here comes Cameron Rich again, going after Indelicato. Yeah, Adams definitely has recovered nicely after that incident. These two are going to be side by side in turn 1 once again. They're championship contenders. They know this is for all the marbles, but I think Indelicato's going to have to see reason here, but he doesn't. He's going to keep it on the outside. It's a good way to get both of you wrecked.
And you know what it's also doing, David?
Bringing Nick Massey right to him.
Yep, here he comes. He's right to the back of Josh Adams.
Yep. Nick Massey enters the championship hunt. Francis is also closing in on this group. Gavel's in the wall in front of him. Cameron Rich has gotten underneath Indelicato twice. He has not been able to get there. Christopher holds the lead over Lytle. Yeah, I am too. You know, there's 40 to go. I mean, but it's at the same time, yeah, I think Cameron Rich can save tire out in clean air a lot better than he can in traffic. And that's what he's hunting for. He's hunting for that clean air, that opportunity. He got up on the outside just a little bit. Josh Adams peeked underneath. Cameron Rich able to hold station in 5th for now, but he wants that clean air. He wants to be up in 3rd, 2nd, 1st. That's where I think Cameron knows he can save the tires the best.
Meanwhile, they've let Lytle and Christopher kind of run away here by about 1.5 seconds. While these guys continue to fight over a couple positions.
Joe Francis up to 8th, just behind Nick Massey. Johnny Thomas pulled over down the back, let him go. 4 of our championship contenders on the frame right now. 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th. Here comes Cameron Rich. He's going to have a big run down the back straightaway. Let's see how he races Indelicato. Indelicato's been very, intensive in his approach into turn 1. He's not going to give up that spot to Cameron Rich. Now Rich has that advantage. He has the front bumper ahead of Indelicato. And he can't slide. Oh, he will slide up in front, and Indelicato does finally cut the 17 a break. Cameron Rich, that's about as aggressive as I've seen the 17 car do anything this season.
Yeah, that could have been both of them ending up into the wall. And instead, a nice little, maybe give him just 0.5 second there to get up in front of him.
That was the clean racer's angry pass, if you will. Cameron Rich passed in such a way that he wasn't real thrilled with that, and he's not going to be thrilled with the way Ryan Gavel just held him up either. But he also did it without ever touching Indelicato, and Adams just bounced off Indelicato's door in turn 2.
Oh, there it goes.
Adams trying to replicate. That all started with that one car, man.
That wasn't getting loose.
Massey got into the back of him.
That was Josh Adams had hunted Indelicato down, has presented to pass 3 laps in a row, and
oh no, yeah, he did get loose.
And then, tough. It's racing at Darlington, right? You do have to race the track, and then when a competitor just holds their lane, there's not a whole lot you can do. I don't think Nick Massey's got any damage.
Got loose, and then, slid up right in front of Nick Massey, and nowhere to go for Massey. And around goes Adams into the inside wall.
Tough break for Adams. He'd come up into 6th. We had just mentioned how he had really recovered nicely. Everyone coming down pit road. I don't think anyone's going to take 2 tires. Remember, they had 6 sets. I'm pretty sure they'll just slap on, 4 new tires and
this is Drew Eisenman's 6th time in pit road. Not saying he's taking tires every time, but this is his 6th time. Same thing with Adams.
Some guys might be running out of their set of tires, but most guys can't possibly run out of their, their sets of tires.
The average is 3-4.
Gotcha. Let's see if anybody decides to take 2 tires. I think it would be an interesting call, but I can't foresee less than 4 tires at Darlington. I think Ryan Gavel's got 2.
Spears.
Yeah, Ryan Gavel's going to have 2 tires. He's going to be out with the race lead. Cameron Rich got out in front of Nick Indelicato, by the way.
They're all right together, though. Rich and Delicato, Massey and Francis. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
All of our championship contenders still under a blanket.
Not all.
Oh, did Ryan Gavel miss his box? Is he coming back down?
No, because Beers is still a lap down.
Ah, that's what it is.
But he's 1 lap down now.
He's getting there, Carlos.
Coming back.
I mean,
Still got
29
29 laps.
30 laps
yeah.
to go.
29 whole laps. Yep, you never know.
Oh yeah, 29, yeah.
He has picked up a spot. He's 18th now. He was 19th.
Still, what a night for Delicato. Got massive amount of points with the halfway stage points compared to his competitors.
Exactly. Already a big advantage for Delicato there, and you know, you wonder whether he'll be able to finish ahead of some of them. If he could, that would still, you know, I think be pretty big. But even if he does happen to go all the way back to 7th here, you know, that 9-point advantage, that's going to make him be pretty far ahead of those guys anyway. With only 2 races left, you know, every point is going to be really crucial, and he was the only one to get points at that halfway mark.
A little bit of a minor note here, but it might be interesting to keep an eye on Josh Adams here to see how that car handles. That could be, that car's messed up pretty good. Could be a car that potentially Beers could maybe track down for a point.
Didn't look too messed up. He'll probably be okay. Beers' car is starting to look pretty. Right rear of the car still got some damage, but he has wrecked a lot of times. Has Austin Beers tonight.
Looks like we're ready to go back green once again. Couple different control cars out front this time. Ryan Gavel on 2 tires, going to lead us to the green flag. Tate Little will be on his outside. Christopher and Rich in row 2. And Delicato and Massey in row 3. And then Francis and Weeks in row 4.
Y'all see what's going on here. Ryan Gavel, 2 tires to take the race lead. He has now gone away from Cameron Rich and Nick Massey, and in the row of Nick and Delicato, his teammate. He's going to try to get an early jump, giving Delicato the boost. The problem is that Mike Christopher's between them. So if Gavel goes early, and Delicato won't be able to take advantage of that boost because Christopher's in the way. He'll just drive right into the back of the 82 car.
We'll have to find out. Here we go, going back to green here on lap 94.
Gavel brought him down so slow, it's going to give an opportunity for Delicato to get underneath Cameron Rich going down here into turn 1. Now Rich has the opportunity to do what Delicato did to him. Lytle loose in front of Rich. That opens the door for Delicato.
Gonna try to take advantage. Can't quite do it. Rich is loose.
They almost just wadded it up for the lead of the championship there. And Delicato and Rich still side by side. Massey and Weeks side by side. Gavel's 2 tires holding strong for now.
Right to seconds.
Joe Francis sitting back here watching all this go down. Battle for second place. Here comes Lytle after Christopher.
That's going to be a wreck. Lytle sideways bounces off the door of the 82. Rich sideways off of 2. Here comes Delicato at the top.
Weeks got by Massey. Now watching these 2 do battle. See if he can pick off one of the 2 or both of them.
And now Rich not in the spot he wanted to be. They're door slamming it off of 4. These 2 have not stopped battling it out, and this might end in a wreck right here. They're going into 1 once again.
Rich gonna run Delicato up the track, just barely holding it off the wall.
Oh, Weeks sideways.
Around to 42.
Delicato sideways, they're rocking into the back.
No caution, no caution.
No caution. Vincent spun it out, but he's off the track. He's out of the way. Side by side for 6th.
Massey and Weeks doing battle here.
Gavel still holding strong. Tate and Christopher are side by side for 2nd. They're going to bounce off each other again. These guys are racing really hard.
Seth Rawls making a run back there as well, trying to get into the mix of this big battle up front.
Yeah, he just blew by Drew Eisenman. That's for 9th. And now Francis to the top of Nick Massey. So Joe takes away that preferred line. Lytle and Christopher still battling it out. Christopher holds strong for now. Here comes Cameron Rich. Sideways off a 2. Still a big run down the back straightaway.
I think Christopher might have just slightly caught the wall a little bit, but he's got to run. Those 2 tires are wearing out to these 4-tire guys. They have caught Gavel.
Oh, Gavel sideways in 4. He saves it going off the fence. Lytle to the outside of Christopher.
He's got the run this time.
Yep, Tate got by Christopher now. I think Tate's going to be able to get around Gavel. We'll see. Oh, Lake Delicato really loose off a 2. Here comes Cameron Rich. He's going to take it. And Tate Lytle's going for the lead.
Massey.
Oh, man, and Delicato's bobble.
Oh, he's run into that Delicato. Massey around. Francis around.
Oh, my God. It got them all.
Johnny Thomas in there.
Oh, wow. Caution waves. Tate Lytle had just taken the lead from Ryan Gavel. Cameron Rich has just cleared Indelicato the lap before. This is the prior rack, I think. I think we need the...
Oh, right. I am sorry.
You are good, sir. The latest one, and it looked like Indelicato, or sorry, in Massey got into Weeks to start that.
Francis
know how...
got into Massey afterwards.
Yeah,
I think
there's a lot of damage on the one car. Oh, Lytle and Gavel wrecked on pit road. And Cameron Rich stayed out.
Francis took a good shot there afterwards, I think, from Johnny Thomas trying to come through.
So Lytle decided late he wanted to pit. Gavel had already decided and had pulled kind of alongside where Tate Lytle was, and Tate drove it down to the bottom and clobbered Ryan Gavel into the inside wall.
Wait, he's upside down. I mean, backwards.
He is backwards because he got spun out coming to pit road. All kinds of shenanigans going on in this pit stop. Still 20 laps to go, man. They were racing like it was the last lap. Watch, here comes Tate. He's decided to pit late. Very fortunate he didn't clobber the barrels.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Seth had to stop. He stopped right at the barrels. And you'll note I had, I mentioned the teamwork shenanigans there to get Gavel and Indelicato together, give them a chance against Rich. Well, now you've got Cameron Rich and Drew Eisenman going to be the front row on this restart. That can also be, teamwork, and Cameron will be able to get Drew a good restart, get him into second. And just so you know, Carlos, Austin Beers is back on the lead lap. So it's not over yet, Austin Beers fans. He has persevered. A lot of damage on that car, a number of wrecks, but it'll have an opportunity. It'll have the same opportunity as 4 of the chasers who all just got involved in a wreck. Delicato's car's got some really big nose damage too. I think Beers will be able to get around that car. Massey looks okay. Gavel's car is a little bit damaged, but I think he'll be able to continue. Francis's car looks all right. With 1 to go, I believe, right here. Let's re-rack, line it up. 18 laps to go. Cameron Rich, the race leader. Drew Eisenman, his teammate, runs in second. Dylan Thomas will restart third. Scott Crump will restart fourth. Gerald Campbell will restart in fifth. Those are the guys that stayed out on the last caution flag. Tate Lytle's the first car on 4 fresh tires. He sits in sixth. Mike Christopher is seventh. Johnny Thomas is eighth. Josh Adams is ninth. That car does not seem to go away. Kyle Hanshaw is 10th.
No, one thing we didn't do there off the start is we took the race winner. We didn't make our championship.
Good point. Good point. I think our rate, didn't we all pick championship contenders to win the race though?
Yes, we did.
All right, well there you go. Those are our championship picks. It looks like.
I'm still committed.
Hey, in the championship scheme of things, I mean, Cameron Rich is going to win here, but it may not be as bad as it initially looked like.
There's 18 laps to go, man. There is a lot of racing still to play. Woo! Green flag back out. Rich and Eisenman get going. Lytle gets a good jump.
Pierce has made a pass.
Lytle and Dylan Thomas battling side by side for fifth, but that allows Rich, Eisenman, Crump to get away. Lytle, Christopher, they drive around Dylan Thomas quickly. It's going to be tough with the guys on those fresh tires. Those guys are going to be rocket ships right now. Cameron Rich continuing to lead the battle way back in this field. Gerald Campbell's fallen back fairly quickly. Beers makes another pass. Was that Massey? I think it was.
Yeah,
it was. He's made a couple passes. He's up to 14th now.
Joe Francis is going to get around Kyle Hanshaw right here. Oh, maybe not. Here comes Rawls to the inside of Francis. Dylan Thomas in the fence. That'll allow Josh Adams to get into the top 6.
Oh, 25 or 42 to the wall.
Rawls hard into the wall.
Rawls really hard into the wall.
That car's killed.
Rawls might have to tow it. Yeah, that Rawls might have to tow it. That thing is destroyed. Cameron Rich is gone. Tate Lytle's going for third against Scott Crump. Crump not giving an inch right here, fighting for that podium position. But it doesn't matter. Crump has to lift coming off of turn 4 there, and Dylan Thomas got real loose off of 4. Vincent Isabella, Johnny Thomas are both going to go by. Tate just hit the wall.
Hey guys, remember how we talked about how big those 9 points were for Delicato during the halfway point of the race?
Yeah, they're showing up big time right now. And Delicato now the 5th car in the championship hunt right now in the running order, down in 17th, and he's fading from the pack. He's 12 seconds behind your leader right now, 5 seconds behind Gerald Campbell in 16th.
That car is killed. The car that's good is Tate Lytle's. He is up to 2nd. Mike Christopher is up to 3rd. Eisenman back to 4th. Adams will be on the prowl for that position. Cameron Rich is going to be under pressure from Tate Lytle very shortly. No tires, just not the way. Cameron needed a few more quick cautions, I believe, to be able to keep this lead. If this thing goes green for 12 more laps, it's gonna be all Tate Lytle behind him.
Only a 10-lap difference, but it's pretty
Oh,
good.
well.
Oh, well.
Well, I say that. 56 car smacked the wall going into turn 2. That'll open it up for Mike Christopher to get closer. 3 wide down the back. Adams, Crump. Eisenman backs out of it. Now it's Crump versus Adams, but Adams has the fresh tires. And you mentioned how Josh Adams, his car wasn't that badly damaged. Well, it's 5th.
Yeah, he's making his way up again in the late running.
Didn't matter for Tate Lytle. Those wall hits, he has closed the gap dramatically on Cameron Rich. It's down to under 0.4 of a second. Rich got to think bigger picture here, though. Can't wreck yourself fighting for this win. Just have to get as good a finish as you can. Finish on the podium, perhaps, and go home with the points lead. Ten laps to go. Eisenman in the wall down the back straightaway. That will likely give a spot to Joe Francis. who is up to 8th and on the move.
Good run for Joe here today. He's been up and down a little bit, caught up in a couple of different things, but here he is, marching his way through here late in the running. Trying to get up here and challenge and pick up as many points here as he can.
And I think he's going to pick up a couple more positions on Drew Eisenman and probably on Scott Crump as well. Just depends on how long it takes him to get up there. Battle is for the race lead. Tate Lytle has caught Cameron Rich. 8 laps to go, and new tires versus old. You want to be the new tires in that situation. Cameron running a wide line, trying to play defensively here, but I just don't think it's going to matter. Tate's going to be able to drive it off deep into turn 3 here and get up underneath the 17 car.
Isabella's all over the back of Scott Crump as well. That battle is for 5th and 6th.
Here's the run for Tate Lytle. Cameron Rich is playing very defensively. 7 laps to go. You know, defending the bottom in 3. He's trying to defend the top in turn 1. Then he cuts it to the bottom. So Tate, if I'm Tate Lytle for a championship driver, absolutely not. If you can't get by him with 10 lap fresher tires, what are you even doing? You know. Tate's to the top side now. Yeah, there it is. Cameron had to protect the bottom. You can't get dive bombed in that situation, and ultimately that's what's gonna. Oh man, Cameron's gonna get there coming off a 4.
Cameron being the most aggressive we've seen him be here today.
You know, I think Cameron feels like he's thrown away the championship a couple of times, right? I think he's aware that he has not won an ERSCA championships, but he's got the speed and the pace to do it. This time he goes up towards the top. Oh, he got spun.
Oh, no.
Wow. And that's going to give the lead to Mike Christopher. Tate Lytle did not maintain speed. That'll cost him the race lead. Ultimately, Cameron was just driving really defensively, and it was what I told you, right? It just, you know, finishing third's okay. Finishing 4th there, okay.
I have disconnected from the server.
Wow. Yeah, and ultimately, you know, he had run that defensive bottom lane 3 or 4 laps in a row, had Cameron Rich, and Tate Lytle is expecting him to run that defensive bottom lane again, right? He's cut him a couple of breaks. He drives to the top. Cameron, this time, drives middle to top. It just hooks him. I don't know that was... He gave it to him? Wow. And Cameron Rich is in the infield care center. I'm sure this will be a fun one to talk to. Cameron, it's David in the booth. You got me?
Yep.
Let's get your thoughts out of that one. We saw you driving pretty aggressive, pretty defensive tonight. You know, speeding on pit road, some of that other stuff, but ultimately you were in position there. Just take us through what happened.
That's a shame. Well, that meatballed my car, so I'm probably out of the championship hunt now. So it is what it is, I guess. I just don't. I just don't know. I don't know. I've always raced Tate clean. I don't know what the thought process was there. Maybe he'll talk to me after the race, but I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed.
You know, you're racing. You're in the heat of the moment. I understand, but we're up in the booth. We got a big bird's eye view of it. We're kind of wondering why you were, you know, racing so aggressively for the win when your nearest competitors were pretty far back for the championship, and why you didn't maybe just, you know, let the guys with fresher tires go on by and take what you could get there at the end of this one.
I raced all those guys in front of me cleanly when I had fresher tires than myself. So I would have thought that no matter the situation, that I would have gotten the same respect. So I don't know. I guess coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah, I could have just let Tate by, but this is also a race, and we're going for money. So I don't know. I would have done it again. I mean, I'm not going to just let anybody by, especially with under 10 laps to go. I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. I guess that's the end of our championship run because I thought that the 17 had the best shot to win it this year, but whatever.
Alrighty, man. Will you any shout outs for us here before we send you off?
Well, I want to give a shout out to everybody that was racing, that I raced around tonight, that raced me cleanly. I mean, I raced Nick, who I was actually battling for the points for, and Joe, and even Massey a little bit. He got torn up, but we all raced cleanly. I just don't understand, man. He's not even in the points. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, I could have let him go, but whatever. It'll be water under the bridge, after next week, and somebody will be ERSCA champion. Probably not me this year, and I feel like I deserve it a little bit.
Well, 2 more races and 2 tracks that I know you'll be fast at, just like tonight. So just go out there and give it your best.
Thanks, guys.
I'm very disappointed, Cameron Rich there, and you can hear it in his voice. Though I don't know that I'm convinced that that's 100% on Tate Lytle. Just the way he was driving so defensively, that's tough to put yourself in that position.
It's just heartbreak again for Cameron Rich. I mean, it almost takes me back to this point last year where, he was in another position like this, and I think he got involved in another accident that basically took him out of the championship, and it's just deja vu for him, basically, to this point. So, but we still have 3 laps left to go here to decide who's going to win this thing.
Yep. Tate Lytle gets a good jump, and Nick Massey got the fence. He might be wrecked here. Joe Francis got a really good start, and yeah, they're wrecked down the back, or in the front straightaway. Eisenman, Thomas, cautions back out.
And going back to what
Yep.
Cam was saying there, with everything that's gone on tonight, you don't really know how this thing's going to finish up with the next 2 weeks, or even what the points are going to look like here at the end of the night.
Yeah, I mean, Massey just lost a bunch of points right there, and right now Joe is the only driver in the top 10 other than Austin Beers. My goodness, man, what a drive! Yeah, he's right back in it, man. Like, and that's all it takes, right? I mean, Rich is out this week, but if he wins the next 2 races, you never know, man. Like, these guys aren't taking advantage. Joe Francis is 4th. He's the top point getter to this point. All the rest of these guys are 10th, 11th, and 14th. He's not out of it yet, but I certainly understand his frustration and obviously the desire to be raced clean. But it's at the same time, if you putting the championship on the line, right? You're putting it out against fresh tires. You're putting it out against guys with nothing to lose. It makes you the person with far more to lose, and it's difficult to be aggressive in that scenario because you can lose that opportunity to win the championship via issue.
I mean, he does make a good point too. I mean, there's more than obviously the championship is the biggest picture, right? Everyone wants the ERSCA championship, but I mean, there is money at stake here, for both of them, for Cameron Rich, for Tate Lytle. So these guys are going to go for it. Cameron Rich, maybe, I'm sure he had some idea of what was going on behind him, but at the same point, wants to go out and win races when you have the opportunity to win races. And he had a good car. He battled back tonight. So, yeah, I mean, there's both sides that you can look at it from, but obviously he wanted the money. He wanted the win tonight. And unfortunately, maybe it was a little too aggressive. Maybe Tate wasn't in the wrong. Who knows? There's going to be 2 sides to both of that conversation. But, hey, we can't go back now. It is what it is. So.
Right, and we'll definitely probably be talking to Tate Lytle at the end of this one. We'll get his side for sure, and I think you'll hear. I tried to race him clean. I was trying to give him the room. I had been choosing different lines from him to try to avoid this, and then he chose high, and I had already committed high. That's what I'm expecting, and so we'll see.
This is going to be the second of 2 green-white checkered attempts.
Yep. So
the
the first
is the final. Oh,
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Last one. So it'll work. It worked out really well for Joe Francis. He's going to be fourth. That's going to give him second on the outside line. That would be a massive second place finish if Joe could pick that up. Tate Lytle's the leader. Mike Christopher still second. He did not get a good enough start last time to keep touch with Tate Lytle, and it's going to be pretty difficult for anybody, I think, to keep up with Tate on the restart given that advantage. Vincent Isabella is up in third after a couple of adventurous spins. Francis fourth, obviously. Josh Adams is fifth. Scott Crump is sixth. Johnny Thomas seventh. Matthew Weeks eighth. Kyle Henshaw ninth. Austin Beers 10th. Beers with that damage, but he's back in the lead lap, giving it a shot. That's all you can do at this point. Nick Massey's 12th. Nick Indelicato's 13th. Pace car is off. Tate Lytle goes on the exit of turn 4. Everybody keeps it somewhat straight. No, they don't.
Nope.
They're going to big wreck and big.
Beers.
Caution's going to be out quick. Christopher's underneath Lytle. Caution's
No
not out
caution.
yet. Lytle, let go. Christopher's going to take the lead and probably the race win. Isabella clanked it off the fence. So did Adams. Crumping Adams sideways on the back straightaway. Can Joe get through that? He can. He backed off to try to let him go. Oh, man. Joe's just trying to avoid it and get home. Mike Christopher to the lead. Isabella and Lytle battling for second. Isabella turns Lytle. Wow.
Lytle around.
And Tate Lytle's day goes from...
Gavel.
That's running Gavel,
got
yep.
involved.
Joe Francis to 6th. It's going to be Mike Christopher, Vincent Isabella, and Josh Adams, the
Watch
top
this,
3.
though. Hey, David, watch this. 6th and 7th. Massey and Francis are right together here.
Yep, Massey. Oh, Crump spinning in
Crump's
front.
around.
And
He's
now,
picked
oh
up
man,
Francis.
Joe's
That
just
nicked it by.
Nick Massey's going to take the top available spot. Mike Christopher wins. Massey to 5th. Francis to 6th. A chaotic final lap or two. Austin Beers is going to come home 11th. Wow.
Joe
I-
14th.
There's not much to say about that one. I don't... Man. Woo-wee.
Maybe one of the more, I guess chaotic would be the right word there, David. Races
Mhm.
we've done on here.
Tate Lytle absolutely thought that race was over. He thought the caution was coming out, and it didn't come out.
Bring him. He's in the waiting room. Bring him up. I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, before we get to our top 3 interviews, let's grab the other member of the party between Cameron Rich and Tate Lytle. And Tate, that one looked like you had it in the bag, and then I think, were you expecting the caution to come out there, or what happened?
No, I lifted where I felt like I needed to, and kind of just got driven through by the 82, and it kind of lagged me and just kicked me straight. I had to get out of the gas, and then down the front stretch, I kind of got hooked together with Vince, and it turned me. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun race. Felt like we showed some decent speed, and was without its downsides of the race, but it was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I raced enough with these guys from the Northeast modified side, and you'll have enough bent up quarters.
Take us back to the contact with Cameron Rich there. You know, we got his side of the story, and he's pretty upset. But let's get your side as well, just to see what's you know, that racing with 5 laps to go. You know, you got the pressure tires. I guess take us through the battle for the lead there and what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to set him up for 5 or 10 laps, maybe not quite that long, but a solid 5 or 6, and I was trying to find a good spot to pass him. I knew I wasn't able to do it on the inside, so I tried getting to the outside of him the lap before, and got a little loose, and he was pinching a little bit, and I lifted to not wreck him, and I went to go do it again the next lap, and I don't know if he was drifting up or if I was further down the track than I thought. But yeah, obviously I accidentally got into him. I hate that he's part of the championship, but he also, I mean, he had to know I had a whole lot less to lose than he did there, and he was racing me pretty hard. So yeah, feel bad that it was someone that was in the championship. Feel bad that it was Cam, but I don't know. I felt like I was doing what I needed to do to try and win the race, and he wasn't making it easy. Which, I mean, not that he has to, but sometimes things pan out the way they did.
Gotcha. Well, any shout outs before we send you off tonight?
Yeah, shout out to my dad for watching. I think my little cousin Gavin's watching. Sorry I didn't win the race, but I mean, we put a good showing out there. Shout out to Brent Wentz, Days Gone By, Vintage Racing Apparel. Shout out to Cam. I mean, I hope he can make a charge of the championship. I don't think anyone in the chase really had too great of a night, other than maybe Massey. But yeah, I don't know. Not a whole lot more I felt like I could have done, and still giving myself a chance at the win. He wasn't making it really easy, but yeah, good race though till it was. And I don't know why we got a wreck so many times when we got 17 cars. It felt like it was a lot of cautions. I don't know how many it was, but it was 5 or 6 too many.
Gotcha. Well, Tate, congratulations on a good run, though didn't end your way tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, sounds good. Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, that was Tate Lytle, who had led on that last caution, and you heard this side. We'll get back to it in a little bit. But for now, let's bring up third place finisher Josh Adams. And Josh, a adventurous night for you, but ultimately it winds up with you on the podium. Take us through your night, because it sure was wild. You were backwards several times.
Yeah, it seemed like every time I got good track position, somebody was right rearing me, on a restart or something. But I thought I had really good speed. I wanted to see that last run end under green when Cam got spun, so it was unfortunate that happened. But it was definitely a fun race for sure.
Yeah, and it looked like you had some good pace, but it seemed like like you said, every time you got spun out. And maybe take us through how much damage you had at some of those different points. What was the most you got fixed?
I think the first one that I got, I don't remember which one, but I had 40 seconds on one of them. I got that fixed, and I think when the one came down on me off of 2 on one of them restarts, I got the inside wall. I added like another 40 seconds, so I got it all fixed. But it was just, I think you guys get to commentate it every week. ERSCA happened within the last 20 laps, and I was able to get all the track position back.
Yeah, so a good fortunate race for you, and I guess Carlos is making fun of your number on the graphic. What's the inspiration for Clint Boyer? And are we going to get Johnny to change your number from 95 to 07?
Oh, I have no idea. I just I like that paint scheme. Gen 4 series. I feel like if you don't have your own paint scheme, you got to run one of the ones that actually ran that car. So yeah, I like the Jack Daniels scheme.
Gotcha. And any shout outs for us here before we send you off tonight?
You guys for doing the broadcast, giving us something fun to go back and watch, even when the race isn't always the best. But I think there's probably a lot of good racing that happened in this race. So you guys, Johnny, for putting it all on. Just hopefully it's a little bit cleaner next week.
Gotcha, man. Well, congratulations on the third place. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Yep, Josh Adams there, third place finisher. Let's grab the runner-up finisher, Vincent Isabella. And Vince, that was a bit of a crazy night for you as well. But, you were up in the top 5 a couple of times there. I just know one of those runs, car got out from under you. You were pretty sideways for about 10 straight laps, finally spun it out and brought out a caution, and then just kind of steadily climbed your way back up.
Yeah, it definitely a night. Got loose, got spun by the 03. I mean, my own doing, but yeah, rough night for a P2.
Yeah, and take us through that contact with Tate on the last lap there. I mean, he seemed to think you guys just got hooked together, but what was it from your end?
Yeah, it seemed like he either pushed or got loose. I don't know which one it was, but I got through the corner better, and when I got to his quarter, he didn't give me an inch, I didn't give him an inch, and then we were all over the place. And I mean, obviously you never want to wreck Tate, but it just kind of hooked him, which it's probably that Northwest internet that he's got. But
I got you, man. And you know, looking forward to next week. I think I'm not sure, you might not actually be in the best of the rest group, but now that I look at it, you are not. But you know, 2 top 5s so far in 3 races, second straight, you know, top 5 finish. Momentum heading your way. I think it's either California or Homestead next week. You know, you looking to maybe pick up another top 5 and be a win next week?
hopefully, I mean, if it's California, I'll be probably pretty decent. Homestead seems to be an Achilles heel, but I mean, whatever. I mean, if it's gonna be a wreck fest like it has been, anything's possible. Just stay out of it. So.
Gotcha, man. Well, congratulations, and you got any shout outs before we send you off tonight?
Mrs. Goodies. That's all I got.
All right, have a good night, Vince. Thanks, and congratulations on P2.
Yep, thank you.
And with that, let's grab Mike Christopher Jr., the race winner. Mike, you were up in the top 5 all day today, but ultimately it was a pass with 2 laps to go on the green-white checkered restart that got you the win. Take us through that last restart.
Oh man, it was I didn't know how it was gonna go. You know, restarts with these things are pretty sketchy with the tire spin, but I thought I had him in that first green-white checkered, but the yellow came out. That second one, you know, he gets the jump, but I felt like I got through the gears a little bit better, and my opportunity was there into turn 1. I didn't feel like I, you know, drove through him as he says, but it was the nicest dirty move I could pull. I'll put it that way. You know, took the lead off of turn 2, drove off into the sunset. Great, I love it. I heard that there was $100 up for grabs. I'm like, hell yeah, let me get in there. These guys put on great shows, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you know, I can't even necessarily recall there were so many incidents tonight, but were you caught up in anything crazy that you know, you kind of came back from tonight?
No, not that I remember. You know, I didn't want to get stuck in the back, so I thought it was very important to stay up front. You know, obviously that's where the wrecks are going to happen. Just even trying to pass people, you have, you know, a better chance of wrecking. I think Gavel and I, with, I don't know, 30, 20 to go, we were racing really hard and door slamming, you know, right on the edge of spinning out. But yeah, didn't get caught up in anything. Kept the car pretty clean, and you know, when that last opportunity presented itself, you know, I'm not going to lift, especially when there's money on the line. But especially because, you know, he got rid of the leader just a couple laps before that, so poetic justice, I guess you could call it.
Gotcha, Mike. And you know, I believe this not only do you win $100 tonight, but this puts you kind of in the driver's seat for the end of season. You know, best of the rest, 6th place reward. You know, you got, I think, California and Homestead left to go. You going to be able to get to both of these races and challenge for that spot?
Let's see, California, Homestead. I don't know. They have Monday night go-karting at Stafford. That's where I grew up racing. I really want to get down there at some night, you know, before the season ends for them. I mean, California's a pretty cool track, so maybe, but I don't know. I like the series. I like racing with my buddies. You know, we have a great time on Monday nights, so if I'm there, I'm there. I kind of decided on this race last minute too. Gave it a few practice laps and was halfway decent. I think Tate obviously was the best around the place, but green white check, you never know what's going to happen. So maybe I'll be there, maybe not. Just shout out to my paint scheme guy, Tom the Modified Guy. Check him out, Fenceline Films on YouTube. He's the one that puts GoPros and all the modifieds across the Northeast, really. He designed my car, basic, love it. So that's my only sponsor. So thanks to him.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations on the win, Mike, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and that is it for interviews and kind of maybe get our last thoughts here before we send you guys off for the evening. Dom, a crazy race that sees Nick Massey and Joe Francis finishing inside the top 10 and, taking control of the points, but Cameron Rich wrecked and left out down in 18th.
Yeah, and Austin Beers, Nick and Delicato looked like midway through the race he was probably the car to beat or was in the best position to really do something here tonight, and he ends up 14th, getting caught up in an accident. So, really, as soon as you thought it was going to go one way, it flipped and went the other way, and it just, like you said, chaotic or hectic or however you want to describe it, really is how this describes the whole race. Hopefully these next 2 races we can have maybe a little calmer races and really let these 5 guys battle it out and see what can happen going forward.
Yeah, and that does make the point standings really interesting because none of Massey, Francis, Rich got any halfway points. It was only in Delicato, so the gap is pretty straightforward. It's Massey 1 over Francis, and then 1 or 2 over in Delicato, and then Beers and Rich rounding it up, and there's going to be money on the line next week too, right? These guys are going to race hard, and we've seen that every race this season. When we get down to crunch time, things get chaotic, and Cameron Rich got to come out, got to get his head up, go out there, dominate as he's done several times this season, and see where the chips fall. And maybe it's chaotic the right ways, like it might have been tonight if not for that contact there in turn 3. So if that's it for you guys, I'm good as well, and we can sign off.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's do it. For Carlos Acosta, Dom Santina, I'm David Westergreen. This has been the Belly Up Sports 200 from Darlington for 3 Wide TV. We'll see you next week.